this karma at the cemetery. It happened on one of my annual trips out to the farm where I was raised and the cemetery where my parents and my dad's parents and a lot of cousins, aunts, uncles are buried. I travel with my daughters. It works fine. We've kind of hit a snag a few years ago. I'm going to call one of them Elizabeth, and I called her my ICE, my in case of emergency person to call. It's on my phone. And then either I hit a wrong button or Sprint did it on its own or something. But my second daughter, whom I'll call Laura, is now also an ICE. So when I get a call from either one of them, it says the same thing, ICE Elizabeth. And for traveling, when the three of us are together, I think this could be a drawback. What if we were in a crash and then we'd be lying on the edge of the road or maybe in the ditch and all our phones would be ringing? And I don't see that would help us. Every Labor Day weekend, we go out to the middle of North Dakota, and we start at the farm. We walk around. It means so much to me that it means so much to my daughters. So we've been doing it regularly. We walk around on the farm. We each take a few rocks for our home, for our yards, and then we go to the cemetery. And I listed for you some of the people who are buried there. It includes. It includes Martin and Sarah, where my brother and I stayed winters when you couldn't get in from the farm for school because of roads. It includes Harold, who gave me my first job hauling grain for money. It includes the place that you can stand and look over a slough to the house that my parents moved into on the edge of town when they moved in off the farm. And of course, you can see the cemetery from the house too. And my dad died in March, and you can't dig graves in March without, in that case, burning tires over it first. So from the house, we looked over a couple of nights before the funeral, and to me, it looked like a Viking pyre, after which they were able to dig the grave. So this Labor Day, year before last, we had our usual, we do a ceremony. Since I came back from Ukraine, I have really liked some of the ways that Ukrainians respect their loved ones who've died, how they have ceremonies to remember them. And so we have our own sort of modified ceremony. We spread out and we had our little ceremony, and then we had our picnic, and then we walked around the graves. And a lot of the stories about the graves are, okay, it was a good life, it was well lived, and there are some that are just tragic. And so we have a lot of conversation. We go to the graves of my cousins that I never knew because they died when they were babies. And I was having the sense that overhead, there had been rain forecast, but overhead, there was so much motion. You couldn't, well, obviously you can't see thunder, but there was continuous, just barely audible thunder. And you could look up but not really have any sense of where the storm was going to come from. And then Elizabeth looked at Laura and said, "Your hair is standing on end." And then Laura looked at Elizabeth and said, "Your hair is standing on end." And then they looked at me and said, "Your hair is standing on end." And so, of course, our first thought was bad karma. So we ran over where we had our picnic under the tall tree to pick up our things. We picked up the scones, we picked up the vodka, we picked up the glasses. We picked up the blankets, and then we tossed them and ourselves into the car and sped off for Rugby. And when we got there, we kind of stood and looked at each other for a while, thinking, we could have been stricken by lightning. Whew. But my second reaction was, okay, there's no place in the world that would have been more suitable for my ashes. I'm frugal. I take such satisfaction in getting more than one thing done on a single trip. I think backtracking is a poor use of resources. And I was there with loved ones, which really is about all you could ask. I know when you talk about karma, I don't think it's proper to say it could have gone this way or this way. I don't think that's what karma means, but there is good karma and bad karma, and all I am saying is sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. Thank you.